well. Your socks match with your glasses. Oh, yes.
Just one.
You even don't need to speak.
Yes.
Just a present.
We trade chairs. We put that chair.
No, exactly.
Yes.
Is this okay? Blocking anyone?
It's time for smoking.
Is that good? You don't want to see yourself? I would imagine.
Yep, that's fine.
Good. So now 10 seconds for him to tell us about the audience, and then we start.
Okay, so the audience is like high net worth individuals or rich people.
Woo!
For investment professionals, finance professionals, investment bankers, private equity people, people that deal with lots of money, generally in the hundreds of millions or billions. And yeah, that's the title. So,
Ready, set, go.
good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for making time to see me today. My name is Mike New, for those of you that don't know me, and I'm the CEO and founder of Wild Community Eco Village Impact Investment Fund. I'm also an ambassador for the Global Eco Village Network. And what I'm here to talk to you about today is the exploding interest in eco villages, in developing eco villages all around the world, and how that can present a fantastic investment opportunity for you. So why eco villages? Like, I'm passionate about eco villages. Like, I literally dedicated my life to developing eco villages around the world. And why? Because eco villages are the lifestyle that I would want to live and that I want to leave for my children and my children's children. But also, when an eco village is done properly, it will address all of the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. So that allows us, to address the environmental disaster that we're facing or the climate emergency that we're facing. About 12 years ago, I was living in Shanghai. I'd just done like 15 years in investment banking and financial in fintech consulting. And I was feeling burnt out, run down, and really in despair at the environmental situation. Well, I decided to put myself on a personal development journey. And the beginning of that journey, I spent a year with a shaman in northern Thailand, which really helped connect me back to myself and back to nature. And then I studied regenerative agriculture, I studied land regeneration, I studied trauma healing and nutritional psychology. And I was really passionate about understanding traditional villages and smart city technology. And how we can combine the best of the modern world with the best of the traditional world. And this led me to the realization or the understanding of the power and the potency of eco villages and what that gives us to actually create a healthy society and to address these UN SDGs. Thank you. And it's not only me. It's like I talk to many people all around the world, and there's something, maybe as I say this, you could feel this in yourself as well, but there's something unique, or there's a thread that runs through all humans. There's a desire to connect to each other, to connect to nature, to care for nature, and to live a different kind of lifestyle than we are at the moment. It's really common amongst people. Also at the governmental level and the capital markets level, there are many governments around the world looking at implementing eco-village development strategies across their whole country, including large countries like China, including Tanzania, I believe. So eco-villages are getting a focus at a national level and a national program level. In the capital markets, there's trillions of dollars flowing into impact funds and into address the United Nations SDGs. So this provides us a really interesting, unique opportunity, which is what I'm presenting to you now. It's the opportunity to invest in the Wild Community Eco Village Impact Investment Fund, where we will create hundreds, if not thousands, of eco villages around the world, regenerating land, people, culture, and the economy, and in the process giving you guys a really great investment opportunity. So what I'd like to do now is run through what actually is an eco village, what is the fund that we're setting up, and what the investment opportunity is.
Comments, feedback. So I would like you to say it like again because you had so good, some sentences were so good combined that I actually want to write that down.
Sure.
Like, oh, I need to write it down.
It's all scripted on my computer.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
Yes, it was so good.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see, but you know how to teach these people, you have vocabulary, you speak a language. Easy word. Yeah.
Having doubt when you say about investment, do these people have some return when they invest in the company?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if I'll talk to you about that later.
That's content, yeah, so this, I'm also reading interested in, and
Yeah.
it's a conversation.
It is.
That's not feedback. I mean, that's analysis, I think that, I mean, it's obvious that you have been, that you're a highly professional speaker, that you have been involved with this world for so long, and I mean, your professionality really comes through all of a sudden. And I think the way that you have woven together all the different parts, like logically, with content, also your personal story, I think it was really just like.
Right.
Oh, the only thing, maybe you talked a little bit too fast.
Yeah, I was trying to get to
But of course, because there was a time rush, but yeah.
That's somehow the question, because at the beginning it was quite fast and it was all right for me, and in the middle, because maybe you realized that you were too fast, the energy was not so much more there. So I didn't know if you were conscious of it and you did it express.
On purpose?
On purpose, or just because it was not there anymore.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, at the 2-minute mark, I was exactly where I wanted to be. So. But it's funny, like this morning, I was easily doing it under 3 minutes. And then this afternoon, it's like 4.5 minutes. I'm going, oh, what's going on?
And the second thing, I invite you to come to Geneva.
Yeah. Yeah,
No, really.
sure. I love it.
Yeah, I think my feedback would be, apart from everything that was already said, invent a term where investment opportunity is linked to something that has sense, heart, and an impact for future generations. Make it a different term because investment opportunity sounds exactly like you already pointed out.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And the phrase I should have been using was impact investment opportunity. I kept forgetting to say the word impact. Yeah, or social investment.
So when I hear the pitch, it's like the pitch that we use when we present and we go to social investors to, to look for. So I'm wondering if what would be the relationship between you and the people? If you're going there just offering a business proposal, you're directly looking for investment for your organization.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So they're an organisation with lots of money looking to invest it, and I'm saying
I also think it's brilliant. I think that people, ambassadors like you, it really broadens our outreach. So it's very helpful. I think you could increase the point of the story of us.
sure.
Like it's so well about yourself and the world, but I still felt a bit like the other, who you're wanting me to invest, but actually I'm feeling like I could be the same as you. I could burn out.
Sure.
I'm worried about my grandchildren or something, and I feel like you could pick me up. And also I wanted to hear more about why is investing in eco-villages, why is it secure? I don't just want to know that this is good for the future generations. I actually want to hear good for the SDGs. I want to hear that it's, that investing in land is one of the best options because it's very secure, more about that. And that, renewable energies and renewable energies is the future is actually really clever to invest. Something about that.
Yeah, 100%. Give me 5 minutes and that will all be
And again, involved, I really feel that the ecosystem is thriving and that we should invest.
Yeah.
So when you can do that with your energy, I think it's amazing.
We're not being a seller. We're not a seller.
No.
Say, Michael's had his word.
You laid back, I saw you had like your hand in your pocket and be conscious about
Oh, yeah,
posture and things like that.
Thank you. Yeah,
I don't know how the best way to stand.
I
Yeah.
have a training for you.
yeah, for sure. I mean, one thing that I was conscious of, I thought I was looking around too quickly. I thought I should have slowed down my gaze around the audience. But that's
One thing I felt was there were some moments where you're talking about really inspiring things, and you were kind of saying it was still a slightly down tone, you know, like you're talking about investment banking, but I felt like there could have been a little more joy.
Sure.
Great.
Okay.
And thank you so much for dressing up.
Yes.
And please now get your shoes off.
Yeah.
Yeah. More interesting tales. One of the pitfalls.
Just been standing in the sun for too long.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see if it works. Got it. Okay. Let's see. Right. Well, the target audience, you now transform to a class of youth, about from, for instance, 11 to 14 years old. I'd like to put away all your telephones.
Good point. I say that as well.
In the cabinet over there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's the target audience. Let's see what happens.
Go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hello everybody.
Hello.
I just went outside. I have a bit of air before this talk, and I saw them again. Then these. I went to the pool. No. Yeah, a pond skate, and it is not skating ice, because we know we call it an ice skater in Dutch, but it's skating the water. It spreads its legs and it skates the water. It doesn't sink. And I always wondered, even as a child, how does this animal do it? And how nice would it be to be able and skate the water, only spreading your legs and arms. So I asked my dad, his technician, if we could not make an apparatus to skate. We never succeeded. He's a technician, a very good technician, but we never succeeded. This has a name. Looking really good at nature, then trying to use this for humanity. It's called biomimicry. And there are really a lot of very interesting possibilities with it. Let's do an experiment. Who wants to be a volunteer? Super. You can sit. You can sit. Yeah. Actually, what do I have got? 2 leaves. One really now dull leaf of the cabbage, and one really nice shiny one from the tree outside. Which one of those do you think repels the water the best? The dull one?
No, the shiny one.
Yeah, probably. Let's try. Do you want to do it?
No, you do it.
Okay. This one. Not this one.
It's like a foaming little bowl.
And what do you think about the honey test? Then
The honey tip.
honey test. This one. It's sticky.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And look, oh, that is like it's magical. Oh! Wow, you have to go and look.
Super.
We have to all see. We can't just have one.
No. I
Because
would
extra minute. Because
Haha.
everybody needs to see it.
actually, this technique is used for something very special. They really look how this works, and this one leaf has really nice small spikes. The honey never reaches the leaves; it stays on the tops of the spikes. And who has an idea of where to use this?
On Mars.
There's even a beautiful,
Protection clothes for technical stuff.
almost, yeah, really good. They made space suits with it. Because when an astronaut is walking on the moon, it's getting dirty, and the dust is really bad for the rocket. But they don't have any washing machine, and they don't have any spare water. So they put this on the suits, and it rinses automatically. How about your toilet bowl? Never gets dirty anymore. So this is biomimicry, and this is one of the subjects Jen is looking at, learning from nature to use it for humankind. And if this is one of the beautiful examples, there are lots of. You could have a look at the website of NextGen. NextGen is the youth branch of the Global Ecovillage Network, and maybe it would be nice for you to have a look if you could connect to one of the youth that's working worldwide on sustainability.
I wish I had teachers like that.
Yeah.
Biomimicry is so beautiful. So beautiful. It's yeah, mind blowing.
Yeah, I really liked how you made the connection, that it sounded super smart and very quick, like bringing the picture that each villages are like something, the next step, like something really you want to.
Yeah. It's fun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Smart.
There's no full stop.
Yeah. Very sexy.
What I liked the most is, I mean, the beginning was great, the opening, the way you capture the accent and everything, but the call to action at the end. Very in 3 minutes, you have the time to, show everything and call to action. So now we know that we are going to look for next gen someone.
Yeah.
I think that's the third of the thing.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe just to also I would think,
Yeah, maybe even a bit
more
better.
in your
Yeah.
And to me, when I watch you, I feel like something you could ground even a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't, that's
Yeah, a bit of anxiety.
exactly like you lift a bit up.
Yeah.
when you do that, which you don't need to because you're so good at it. Yeah, so wonderful. And there is a little bit of shyness around you,
Mhm.
and I feel like you try to hide your shyness,
Mhm.
like at the end.
Yeah.
But actually, your shyness is so charming. It's so charming. It's beautiful. So I don't know. My invitation to you would be to enjoy your shyness and know it's a part of your charm and just
Okay.
have it.
It was really good. I think you should get a 5-minute slot on Dutch TV.
Yeah.
Professor Science for the kids.
Oh,
Yeah.
And we can give you a 5-minute slot of Jen.
Yes.
We don't get it. We could have like the weekly Henk.
That's not him.
On their social media, and the two of you,
Yeah.
one week we have Monica,
Ah,
who's
yeah.
taking of her, and one
Yeah.
week you with the next biomimicry.
Yeah.
And you will become famous.
And I could see your teenager really alive.
Yeah.
I could see the
Okay.
teenager that lives in you.
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
alive.
I
So
like it.
teenagers see like an older person, they are like, oh, what this old person is going to say.
Oh.
And then,
Also, I like to have them experience something. I don't like to talk to them.
yeah.
I like to have them an experience, and that draws the attention. Or else I will be an old guy telling them how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I like
Really
it.
love it. Okay.
No, I put a laptop here just because I wanted to see, oops, the roof of that building. It's a building that's empty for sale on a plot of about 4,000 square meters. And the size of this is about 300 square meters, the building itself. It's from the 17th century, so it's pretty old. And the audience you are is a very mixed group of people in a village in Germany, in the north of Germany. There's youth, there's students from the Associated University of Applied Science that go for art and the social. There would hopefully be a banker and a mayor and, you know. So I would just like to call my contemporaries, because that's what we are. We all decided to live here and now. And as we all know, we live in an incredible time, a time of great possibilities and high emergency. And in this time, there's an amazing opportunity. We can envision a world that our heart knows is more beautiful than it is possible. And I want to give you a bit of my background. I have suffered from separation right from the beginning. I have suffered from the early divorce of my parents, and I have also suffered from their traumas that they had from the war. My father was in a Russian prison camp for 5 years, and he didn't feel. There were no emotions. My mother was an orphan at the age of 3, and she didn't feel either. So I grew up in an environment where, in order to feel strong and try to achieve the standards in school, and that's the way I survived. I became good. And the biggest gift I received from my parents was at the end of their life. My father, when he turned 90, he lost his memory, but he regained his feelings. And we could laugh, we could cry, we could hold hands, and just be silent with each other. And there's another gift which my mother gave me when she was already stiff and cold in a graveyard in Germany, and I knew I had to do a ritual for her. So I went outside and I just started singing in front of a huge tree. And the moment I started singing and drumming, a flock of maybe 200 birds gathered in that tree, and I felt we are not alone. Her spirit was there everywhere. We are living in a community, we just haven't learned that there is such a thing as a living community. So what I want to invite you into is creating an intentional community. And there are so many resources around that we could use. So the first thing that we would be doing would be trying to see where we are at. It's called a baseline study. So because this is a rich community, you're fighting against fracking, you're having 3 bioshocks in this regency. But what is it exactly that we already are doing in this community? So I'd love us to get together and really access what are we already as a community, where are our weaknesses, where are our strengths, and how can we evolve
to create a future that is now and not only when lying on my deathbed is. Because I don't want to go there only to experience closeness with people. We have something to share, and that is a feeling of being home in the planet. We can create community where we see each other authentically in our feelings. We can share resources. So in order for us to really contribute to a sustainable future. And that's why I would love to buy this house with you. It is a place where we can hold space for each other to really create a culture. It is a place where we could meet, even though maybe you all live where you are, or maybe some people are going to build something on that ground, or maybe new people join, but we need a place where we feel this is ours. And I don't know how much time I have left. My invitation is, let's find a date where we can really sit together and look at that.
Oh.
Yes, you put that paper up.
Oh, because it's my favorite poem by Hafiz, and it says, "One regret, dear world, that I'm determined not to have when lying on my deathbed is that I did not live with you, hug you, kiss you, embrace you enough. And you can be the world, can be you, can be God, but I just don't want to regret not having done it."
That's lovely. Very nice.
Love that. I would have loved that to be part of.
I mean, I know that it.
And I think that it was really very well planned, very well exposed. I did not really completely get the connection then, but I was missing a bit because it's in front of the Jen presentation. But for sure, if I were in this amongst these people, I would go with you immediately. It was so well planned, so well put together, and also some very strong mottos, really strong mottos inside. In the beginning, I had a little bit the feeling, and I think then you can work a little bit more, which is that it felt like acting. And I think just to be more, just allow yourself to be more. Because I think that you're such a wonderful person, so good and so capable in everything, that you don't have to hide behind the box. To be good, To be good, exactly. Exactly. Forget it. But that was really good.
I completely agree. I think it's really beautiful also because you can connect to the audience. And I guess it's a bit like with Michael, with Mike, that I feel like the story of us could be stronger. Like there's the story of I and the story of world, but I didn't quite get included fully. Like there was a call for me to get involved. And I think maybe something like this poem would have helped me build a connection between you, the not feeling, the feeling at the end of life, and now's the time where we have to feel it somehow. I think to think about how you build that bridge to us a bit stronger would be helpful. But it's just like, and then I also noticed that I immediately wanted to know that this will be a cooperative, that I can put in money, and I really put even more sentence to bring that in. And I could see how much stronger this would be in German. Because I heard the German from the one who spoke, and I know it would be much stronger. Yeah. Lovely. Lovely. Thank you. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, no, I just felt it very sincere coming from you. So I love it.
Thank you so much. It's so lovely hearing these. Really,
Where did the paper go?
I don't really know if I should keep my notes with me or not. I
don't.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
How about I just put them down there? Yes, I don't see how to write at all.
I can even share that.
I'll try. I won't remember anything. Oh, okay.
You
So,
can jump with me, please.
okay.
Yeah, we can all jump with you.
All right.
Yes.
Oops, sorry.
Yes.
So, my husband went to a fancy university in the UK. So, a lot of his friends from the university are really wealthy, and they are all becoming really environmentally conscious. But they tell me when I talk to them that they don't really know how to get into it, what to do, how to start. So, you're this audience. So, I know you. Hi, everyone. Most of you know that a couple of years ago, I started getting involved with this project in Guinea in a little village called Sobata, a small community. It's a project around water and agriculture. So recently, we were able to send a phone and a solar panel to charge it, a small solar panel. And one of the members of the community, called Ibrahima, sent me a picture of the village at night time with one glowing light bulb. This was an overwhelming moment for me. And I realized two things. First, that the people in Sabata, they have the same aspirations as you do, as we do here. There is like a whole world of possibility that opens up when you can keep working, studying, meeting, playing after the sun goes down. Think for a moment. Think about all you can achieve, all you achieve in a daily life, all the bonding moments you have, how much your children can study after the sun goes down. All the people of Sabata want is the opportunity to do the same. And the second thing is that just the simple thing, the simple thing of bringing a solar panel, a small solar panel to a community, but we will all see as being a part of a transition towards more sustainability, that we will label as ecology. Well, it's actually much more than that. Now, we can't think about supporting this community without taking a more holistic, integrative approach. And this approach, I found it with GEN, the Global Ecovillage Network. What they do on projects like this is that they don't focus on just one aspect of the project, but four, and you can see here. We have the ecology that we talked about, but also economy, social, and culture, and to connect them together, the whole system is designed. And now I'm going to tell you how we do it. Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah.
Now that I'm done, I will go thank.
I mean, it was just the introduction, right?
Yeah.
Now you're starting.
Yes.
I'm ready to hear more.
I think it was very well linked between your personal story and the story of your experience with less privileged parts of the world. And I mean, to bring this thing together with Jen and with the I think it was really well really well nervous.
Yeah.
But you did really well in not accelerating, because sometimes when we are nervous, and I'm talking also about me, so you start to talk much faster and faster and faster.
Yeah, I forced
And-
myself to stop.
Yeah, it was really good because it was very, you put the people at ease in front of you. That was very important, I think.
I felt a lot of trust because you're a real bridge builder. You know, the personal involvement of you over these years gave a lot of trust to me. If I want to support this, really, I'd be able to stand with it.
You were smiling too, and it was really good. There's something you did that is like something for us to think as a group in the TOT. When you mentioned Jen, you say they. They have the 4 dimensions. And then after you said
yeah.
we.
Yeah, I wanted to say we all the time, and I think I didn't like. But yeah, I'm not gonna have to say we and like really remember that.
It's really subtle.
Yeah,
It's of course we need to empower ourselves to say we as Jen, right?
And for me, it's a bit like with Kate, that I seem cool to me. You seem very approachable, very honest. Like you make yourself a bit naked. You're really sharing something that is important to you, and you're not cool about it. So it actually creates more trust. So I'd love, and already you bring a very sharp intelligence that you don't allow to be compromised by your nervousness. It really comes through. And it's a bit like, I so love the different way that each person is, and that none of us have to try to be like anybody else. It is exactly the quality that you bring and who you are and the message you have and your life purpose is exactly what comes through here and what I want to see through here. It's like perfect, So you can completely just relax in it. It's lovely. Okay, with the nervousness. It's lovely. Thank you. And never hide it in notes. Never hide it in notes.
Never.
Yeah, because
You
I
don't
want to see
need
your
to.
eyes
And also because the people who read get so boring.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, but I really thought that I was not going to remember anything. But I didn't.
It's better to lose something on the way than read it.
Yeah. Well done.
Okay, so the audience is basically the audience that I'm used to talking to, which is international development community, but specifically the global health, population health, research and program implementers. Program implementers, like people who implement programs and who do research.
In which level of
Global, like international.
decision makers or
No, more like so researchers or people who do research, and also people implement programs like NGO people who are very focused on global health, population health. Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Sarah here, and I know that you usually see me up here presenting on family planning and population health, but today I want to talk to you about something really different. And to give you a better understanding of why this is so important to me, I'll just give you a little bit of background. So one of, I think, the key moments in my life was when I was 15. I was listening to John Lennon's song Imagine, and I was listening to the words, and I was listening to this, better world that he was envisioning. And at that moment, I thought, wow, this is totally possible. This is exactly what I want to do. And so I thought from that moment, this is what I want to dedicate my life to do and to try and build a better society. I had no idea how I was going to do it. And it was also, a time when I was thinking, what am I going to do after I finish school? And I could see that to build a better society, we needed to address all aspects of society, not just economics, but also the natural world, the natural sciences. And this made it really difficult for me to decide what I wanted to do at university, for example. And so I ended up taking the most generalist degree as I could find, and I absolutely loved it. But come the end of the degree, the same problem presented itself again, and I felt like I had to specialize. I had to choose a path, a career path. And at the time, I was reading this book that was saying, you know, we're living in this really degenerative world, and we have this pie, which is a finite pie, which is our planet, cut into slices, and we have a growing number of people who need a slice of this pie. And they were suggesting 3 solutions to it. One is increase the pie, which, you know, increase production, but I could see that on a finite planet, this was probably not a good idea. Second solution was decrease the size of the slices so that we can have more slices in the pie. And, you know, basically focus on creating low impact lifestyles. And I thought, great, this is exactly what we need to do in the West, you know. But I knew I wanted to work in the global South. And in the global South, lifestyles are already pretty low impact compared to the global North. And the third solution that was proposed in the book was to try and ensure that we don't increase the number of people unnecessarily for a finite pie. And I knew from my studies that many, many women in the world in general, but specifically in the global South, are having kids when they don't want to. And so I thought, great, this is what I'm going to focus my career on. And so that's what I did. I went on to study demography, I became a demographer, and I've worked in the global South ever since. But throughout this time, there was this niggling feeling in me that I was just focusing, that I was narrowing in on a very small piece of the puzzle, and I wasn't looking at the bigger picture. And, you know, for example, climate change is creating this massive rural to urban migration, and we're ending up with really overpopulated cities. And here we are as a community trying to find ways to ensure that these, you know, that city dwellers in huge overpopulated cities in the global South have access to healthcare, have access to education, family planning, and 3 years ago, and we're not looking at the global picture, like all the underlying factors that led to this situation. And I think there's a need more and more to look at the bigger picture. And in our work in general, I would say we focus on maybe 1 or 2 of the Sustainable Development Goals in general, maybe even 1 target in 1 goal. But what if there was a solution that could address all the goals, all the Sustainable Development Goals together? And this is what I see in the eco-village movement. This really hugely promising model of a just society that can cater to, you know, our economic, education, healthcare needs, all while allowing people to stay on the land, not only to stay on the land, but also to regenerate it. And I think if we could invest a little bit more time and money in eco-villages, we could start to see the potential that these models have to fulfill the goals that we're actually all striving towards in the global health community.
I loved how you phrased how you explained these villages. Can't remember exactly what to say, but
Health and
a model of
education.
something that could address the solution.
Felt like it be really expressed in your environment. It was like really completely suitable for that environment. I think way. I loved the story how you went there and how you brought things from you to the world and then to us. Because also at the end to say that it's all ours, I think it was immediately the interest in it.
Yeah, I really liked the moment where you talked about the piece of the puzzle, that you were focusing just on one thing, but actually it's much bigger. Like, it really caught my attention there, like even more. So, yeah.
And I thought the story was very rich and very complex, but I think that is perfect for your audience.
Yeah.
I think you need to catch them with this, like they know you're intellectually completely awake, and you catch us. And there is such a warmth and also charm to you, but also a hidden inner power that you carry that for me really came out now in a way that I haven't seen it before, because you're a bit quiet. Usually.
I am definitely quiet. I don't like it when people say I'm shy, because I'm really not shy, but I'm quiet. Yeah.
You're quiet, yeah, and it's so wonderful to be allowed to see your power. You know?
Thank you.
Yeah, and The only thing is that that's of course a time issue, is that I would have loved you to just allow a bit more space around your words, because you also lift up a bit, and in that you make yourself a bit younger than you are. Like it's like even your voice is a little bit higher than I feel it naturally would be. And just as if you give yourself a bit more space and a bit more permission. I really love it.
Nothing to about because you were speaking too quick for me. But for me, just to understand that I couldn't catch what you were saying. So that's quite a point. So my attention was on another level, and what I was trying to see is not because you didn't look at me, that it is like your eyes were not on the public. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
What I just
I especially
what
noticed that I wasn't looking at the side of the room at all already. I was kind of focusing on this stuff, maybe because that's where I was
No, it's not about to look at me, but even for the audience. Just
Thank
to
you.
be more maybe. You know,
Yeah, no, that's a really good point.
And part of that could be to move slightly less, because you're a little bit nervous also, so your body moves. Sometimes with, sometimes like a nervous, like sometimes you do like just very small movements, but I think just to practice really resting, like even now your feet are a little bit up from the ground, really practice really resting could be super helpful and make it even more powerful. Yeah. But really lovely. Thank you.
Wow. You're going to do this with this one. No, that's not. I just a little piece of. So, you are public of social investors and a mixed public from people just a bit curious about what I mean. So, wow, I feel a bit nervous just to speak to you today. First, good afternoon. My name is Marion, and what I want to share with you today is something very important for me, and something that might be important for you because it's going, I hope, to change your look for the future. So, just one thing. If I write this, do any of you just an idea about what this number means? What is it all about?
Maybe the amount of equal villages in the world.
Good! You're good! That's right. That's about now what we can say about the number of eco-villages in the world. So I think that some of you may not know what's an eco-village is. So let's say that they're working on 4 different things. Well, about ecology, they're trying to improve their impact on ecology, on culture too. That's mean to restore the spirituality and also culture in the everyday life. They're working on social good, trying to deepen their social activities and so on, and also on economy. At this moment, to develop little businesses that can help everybody. But I should like first just to tell you a bit about my story. I've always been concerned about it, and I was about 30 when a friend of mine just said to me, "Oh, I know a place, a strange place, where people are living differently." So I say, "Well, let's see." So I decided to spend 1 week in the north of Scotland in a little village called Fingal. And it was amazing, really. What happened there is just as you climb a mountain and suddenly you discover another landscape. That's what happened with me. I just discovered another way of life. I didn't know, well, these people was just, well, they was growing their own organic food, they was recycling water, they were just, well, having fun together, just singing, dancing, well, everything. And also they were just more respectful of the way of the culture of each other. And they were happy. And so, well, what I discovered was eco-village. So, I think that that right now we need to develop another way of living, just to find other ways. Some of you might want to try, or, well, they might want to support the association, which support all these eco-villages, that is called GEN, and I will go much further. And I would like to have this conclusion that for our future, we need to support each other. So I rely on you. We rely on you. That's much more difficult than what I
Comments? I like what you wrote on a piece of paper, like it is our curiosity, but like what's that? Because I'm sure that normally nobody answers the questions of it. So I think it's a good way to start, to break the ice.
Yeah.
I felt a bit saddened to bring this aspect after a little bit of experience of the community.
Yeah.
So because later you talked about more happiness, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe we can know that story from those like which aspect like what is like the real experience from the economy perspective, and have people more like easily to understand.
Yeah, to totally related. Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't do.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think you were really convincing with the way you started, the way you stood there. And the only moment, and I think I really liked the symbols and the ideas that you brought in, the images. I think they were very strong. They were really nice. I was completely with you. The only moment when I felt that it was not so, in that moment, but all the rest I found it really very, very convincing. And just to add one thing to that, I love your presence. It's something very warm and wise that you bring. And my sense is that it could be really helpful to explore a bit more. What is this experience and wisdom that you bring as an older woman? And I speak of myself here, but like when you ended with we need to do this for our children and their children, like you don't speak as somebody who just speaks about this, yeah? You speak about as somebody who's experienced a big chunk of life.
Yeah.
You come from like the maturity that you are fully, and it's like a wealth. And I feel like there's I don't exactly know what it is, but it's like a woman speaking about the preciousness of life. And I feel somehow in your heart you have an even stronger voice around the protection of life that is wanting to come through. That I can feel in this, but I feel it's even stronger. That's
Allow that it can come.
It's like
Yeah.
because I think it's a role that we don't have so much in society.
Yeah.
This role of older women
That's
protecting life.
Yeah.
And you're one of the women who speaks that.
Yeah.
And I think it's really needed, and you have it. But it's unusual in how we speak it. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
personal effect. Whoa! Hi everybody, I'm John.
What are you speaking to?
I'm speaking more to entrepreneurial network, something like that. Yeah.
In Asia. Which
Yeah.
country?
So I'm John, and I'm here to share with you about the story of us. Who are we?
Human.
Entrepreneur.
People.
So when I was much younger, I love to work alone. I love to be with nature. To ask questions about meaning, purpose. But as I grew up, I'm so caught up in the rat race. I forgot about who am I. So I started to ask myself, who am I? So I pursue new knowledge of the regenerative work and spirituality and other form of spiritual tradition. I found that there's some interconnection. There's this wholeness of us as a community. We do not exist for ourselves. We are here for us. So, you look at nature, you look at the collaborative and the harmony of nature. It is one system, one whole system. So, I want to invite you to explore this new vision, this shared narrative of us as one people, one community. Okay, thank you.
What you could have used that in a way that one moment you take it off to really show that there's more closeness possible. That was just a suggestion, but otherwise it was really John. Yeah.
I love the simplicity of your story, and then you break it up. Like Miriam started with a now, and then she went to self, us, now again, and you started with the center of it, us, we, and that was fantastic because this hand gesture and everything suggested it was very choreographed. It was like a movement.
It is impromptu. I never thought of that. It's impromptu. I don't come up with that beforehand. Yeah, let's try it. Experimental.
Movement already took my attention. So,
Qigong.
yeah, something like that.
And I think that the feet should have moved less. Yes. Yeah. And I also was waiting for the moment when you took off your glasses. Because I think taking off the glasses at a certain point does not, because behind the glasses you cannot see the soul of the person. And I think even if you're talking to businessmen and all this, and I think you had some really strong mottos inside, really strong, really well, also with the hand, that was really nice. But I think that if you took off the glasses, it would have helped a lot more to say, okay, we are one. Because as long as you have the glasses, it's me and you. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Vivek.
Yeah, I think you have very powerful concepts and sentences that you speak from. So it's powerful. And I felt very included in the us. I could also when you use the word, and then I got lost in the rat race, and I was looking for who am I really It's very powerful. So just this, like with standing still while you do it will make it even more powerful. Thank you.
Actually, I missed the connection with Jen. Like, I didn't see much you speaking with like but I imagine you would continue in your presentation. You brought like the nature and the reconnection. That was beautiful. I imagine that you would take that trail.
Very exciting. Could you tell me after 2 minutes? More. Okay, so you are participants in a short workshop for community building around Chudistia in my home region, and it's a program where some workshops and education programs are facilitated for people who engage in community projects, social worker teachers, maybe the process or starting up co-housing. Yeah, hello everybody. I'm really happy to be here today and get the opportunity to talk to you about GEN, the Global Eco Village Network. Yeah, some of you do know me, some of you don't know me. It's my home region. I come from this region. I'm really happy to be here. And before going into detail about GEN, I would like to go with you on a short travel through my life so far and why I'm connected. I feel very much connected to the Global Eco Village Network. Well, I grew up here in this region in the village called Atlantic, and I had a great childhood, having a safe environment and having children to play with, and I think I had a very good start to life. And I was a child who was always asking questions, and I remember I was also quite rebellious, and I wasn't satisfied with most of the answers I got. And since I was youth, I actually knew that I would engage in the social field. So I started to study social work, went to Africa, to East Africa, to Uganda, and in the end, I realized that it took a long journey to come back to the home region. And when I was in Uganda, for the first time, I actually realized what it means if I want to help. And I had a lot to give at that. And I want to help while I see that my help actually is not reaching the ones I want to help. I was working in an orphanage, and it was an institution while I could see that the family structures where the orphans came from were actually absolutely eroded. It was a conflict area, and I was starting to ask myself, why don't we support the families, the extended family system? I wrote my thesis about it. I kept on traveling. I didn't plan for it. Thank you. I didn't plan for it, but finally I married in Tanzania, got children there. Found out that even there, actually, the extended family systems are not supporting the ones who are in need. Coming back to Austria as a single mother, I found out, well, we have a social security system, but I feel isolated. I was searching for connection. So in that way, I villages about the way we can meet in circles, we connect. And I found out all of my studies actually brought me to a more holistic approach, where I can see that GEN really offers a wonderful mosaic of different perspectives on community building processes. And actually now I ask myself, why didn't I start to study the eco-village approach just like 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Because I can see it involves us as humans, indigenous beings, and people who are acting or wanting to act
for a better future in the local structures. And we are part of the global process going on. So this is what I actually want to offer you, because I can see, I brought this picture with me. I always wanted to give a lot, but without having a supporting system, I actually cannot give what I want to give. So I have to be nourished myself with a really well-established and nourishing social structure that I can give and I can co-create with other beings. That's why I'm here, because I have a deep interest, also that my home region is going to step into a co-creative process with whoever is there and whatever is surrounding us. So now I really would like to go on traveling with you into the world of the eco-village. Totally different than a plan.
I really love your story. I think everyone, well, I could really relate to it. Like, I think, you know, the types of feelings that you described, of feeling isolated and everything, is something that everyone's felt at certain points. And the way you kind of weave it into how eco-villages can address those issues is really, really nice. And the fact that your personal story went all the way through, I like that as well.
I felt your maturity in the subject. It was like I was completely nourished also here in my life. You know, I felt like this is totally incarnated in you. It's your story.
Well, I felt I was very curious what was going to come, because you presented it so well and you put the things together so well, your personal journey, how you arrived at what you're at now, and so that you kind of found the solution after all this traveling to something that you can really connect to and that you want the others to connect to. I mean, I really felt like, I really want to know what's going on now, what's coming after.
To me, there was one thing, like, you know, at the beginning when you said, I'm from this region, I noticed I really trusted you because you're from here. And then, you know, so I think you could build a bit on that to make that even more powerful. Your homecoming and what it means to come home, because that's where you really get them. And then also there was this point where you said you were trying to solve the issues, but you weren't able to address the actual issues. And I was really curious, so how does this now address the actual issues? And I was still left with a question mark around. So I think it would be good to really think about that. How does this address the actual issues in a different way? But I feel like it's, and your presence is really lovely. Yeah. So I want to hear more. Thank you. And the very last, but not least, is Jason.
So my audience is people who are stepping forward to create an eco-village, probably in my local area. Yeah, stepping forward now.
Friends of you. Friends.
Could
I
be.
join you.
Could be.
What a sight to say.
Potential friends. Could be. Maybe I don't know. Okay. So,
It was
yeah.
like
Yeah. You want to ask a question?
Watch out your
head.
Oh, yes.
We're worried.
Okay. I can ask a question afterwards. So, in my journey, in my life, I found myself a work advocate, also an activist, very busy activist. And I reached a point in my life where all of this world fell apart. One of my close friends died, two actually, one in my presence. And the world collapsed. I lost my place. I was wandering the land. I was wandering the earth. I started to work on organic farms because I knew there was something in that was good for me and for the world. I just felt that. I wandered the land and I realized I wanted community. So I started living on communities as well. And I started to find the communities in my area. And I found a place that I felt, this is the place. I'm going to be here. I'm going to plant my oar in the ground and stand my ground in this place. Yeah, and face everything that needs to be faced and all that kind of thing. And so I was there, and I found the most playful and magical reality there, the opposite of what I'd experienced before. I found a huge abundance, huge support, huge community. Like I'd be there, weeding the garden. I became a gardener. I'd be weeding the garden, and here comes a baby crawling along. Oh, that's a baby. This deep sense of playfulness and connection. So now I want to collaborate, create, synergize, mutually empower with you to create something beautiful, some beautiful eco-village or network of eco-villages, where we can really recreate all the beautiful traditions of eco-building, stone masonry, gardening, community, conflict resolution, grief ceremonies, ancestral ceremonies, finding new economic models, new business models, gardening. Maybe I said that before. Probably did say that word twice. Yeah, to create that and be really rooted in a place and rooted in the abundance of that place. So we don't have to live in scarcity. We don't have to struggle as activists and change agents. We can be rooted in the ground and in a place and in the support of the earth and of the community. And then we can go out from there and engage in conflict resolution or organizational change or make communities for refugees that are like eco-villages. Yeah, and things like that. All the things that we need to do in the world. But coming from this place of abundance, playfulness, groundedness, rootedness in the earth, and in the all relationship with all the little beings that are around. All the little plants and animals and slugs and creatures in the pond. There. That relationship with more than human life. More than human life and human life. Dancing together in some kind of sweet, sacred magic. So we can come from the broken world and we can stand our ground on the community and we can all jump up and live again. And live again. Yeah. In a beautiful way. With each other.
Yes, we can go with it.
Completely captivating.
All the metaphors, like
What a poet are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
every word. I see it in front of me. You visualize it with your being, with every sense in your whole body.
Yeah,
I
and the
really love it. I
Yeah,
started
thank
to look you like a plant.
joy.
You're like a plant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so like a mystic woman, like a magical being coming out.
Is in you. You are like the small earth, small planet, small version of
You was also like the strength of water. Like your heart was so, like, your heart was connecting to my heart. You know, starting from the grief. But then when you spoke about the baby, and I could feel your love for all beings. And I know I also want to reconnect to that love for all beings. And I love that you didn't make the eco-village an intellectual thing. You made it a thing of love. And not just that you bring your love, but also like this abundance that grows from the simplicity of things. I feel like it connects to an ancient trust that yes, we can live on love. Yes, we can be in community. And no, we won't get lost in conflicts, or it can be just good. Like, it's really, really good. Your speech, because I felt this patient. I mean, what I felt was this way, this traveling from a very dark place, from something really difficult to a butterfly that exploded and who could so appreciate life. Life in all its forms and life when it's connected, you know. And this really touched upon, I think, this very deep wish inside of everybody who's here and who is part of this movement and who wants to do things, that we all really want to create a different life, that we want to create a different reality, that we even are willing to give our lives to go there. And I could feel that you would give your life to go there. And so this is why I would immediately go with you.
He needs a 5-minute TV show.
Yeah, you can have the show.
Yeah, 5-minute weekly, like TV
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Jason's issue.
I can guarantee you would convert so many people if you did that.
Yeah.
So many people watching TV would be like, that's what I want to do.
The only thing, you have to work on your voice. You have to work a bit on your voice. Yes. A little bit on your voice.
What do you mean?
What I mean is that if he spoke, and I try to talk like you talk, you know, I'm making it worse, but it's very stuck up here. And if instead you open up your, you could be even so much more convincing, you know, then it would be less a child that has gone through a place and has, like a boy that has grown up to a different place, but it would be a grown up who has gone through a huge story and arrived at the being adult.
Jason, if you could make a posture in which you stand like a tree, how would you stand? And where are the branches of the tree?
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'm usually writing, you know, you can make these things, usually writing, not usually speaking.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very strong.
So this is it's new actually to me to speak in this way. Well, in front of a group. Usually I'm like just listening to the people who are there, but I'm really not really speak very much.
Yeah. Well, you have future in this business.
I think that's something. I have fallen into that as